To start off, tell us about yourself. Give us your name, age, and occupation.
Sure. My name is Matt Blankinship. I am 27 years old and I'm a cybersecurity engineer.
Why are you here on Survivor?
I'm here on Survivor mostly for me. It's an internal struggle. I want to sort of prove to myself that I can do this really challenging game. I want to sort of test myself. As a kid, I think I was a lot more afraid of taking risks and afraid of being in front of people or judged by people. And I think I've grown a lot. But this will be like the ultimate test of that, my comfort with discomfort, I guess.
What's your history with watching Survivor?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, there was a girl that I really liked, and she introduced me to Survivor. She was like, "The show is awesome. We got to watch this," and I loved it. Like I couldn't get enough of it. And so since then, been watching pretty regularly, and it was a dream of mine to be on the show. So I tried, and I made it. Here I am. This is actually happening. So I'm very stoked to be here. I'm stoked to like watch myself with my friends who I watch Survivor with. I think that's going to be an amazing moment for us.
Give me one Survivor winner and one non-winner who you identify with the most.
Sure. Identify with the most. I identify a lot with Yule. I think it was awesome as a person who is part Asian to see an Asian man, out there kicking ass, playing game, and like just doing a great job. And he really inspired me to be here. Like, he was one of the people who I saw and was like, wow, that person shares something with me. Like, maybe I could do this as well. Um, and a non-winner who I identify with. This is going to be a little bit of an out there answer, I think. But Eric Reichenbach, famous for giving up immunity and falling victim to the Black Widow Brigade. I see some of myself in him. I see he was kind of like thrown into the deep end with all of these women, and he was young. He's like not really sure how to handle all of these pressures. And I think there's a part of me that can really relate to that feeling of like, oh God, people like want things from me. How like can I stand up for myself and not give it to them, or do I just like bend over? So I can relate to that, but I hope I don't make the same mistakes.
What's your favorite moment in Survivor history?
Yeah, I think a lot of my favorite moments related to Eric have to do with like momentous blunders, catastrophic errors that people make for whatever reason. So I love that moment in Tribal where, someone busts out the knowledge is power advantage and they're like, I'm going to take your immunity idol. And then the person's like, I don't have an immunity idol. And all the draws like drop to the floor and it's this big like, oh shit moment. I love that as an audience member. That's like what I live for. Yeah.
What's one life experience you feel has prepared you most for the game?
Yeah. I think one of the things that I've had to learn the hard way in my life is that things don't always work out the first time around. And it's tough to put a lot of yourself into something. I'm thinking like I've auditioned for bands or I've applied to colleges or applied to jobs where you put a lot of yourself into this and like put a lot of your hope on how your life will be on this thing, and then they reject you, that you fail. And dealing with that, my current job, I applied 3 times and they rejected me each time. And then the 4th time, I finally got the job. So I think that persistence and that ability to like take this moment of defeat and pick yourself up and turn it around and try again will be really important in this game, because no matter who you are, there's a moment along your survivor journey where you're at rock bottom. You feel like nothing is going your way, everything is terrible. And I think that those moments are what separate the really great players from the players who just sort of fold.
What excites you the most about the new era of Survivor?
I love that you cannot know what to expect. There are just so many things that are unheard of and new, and everyone is going into this game, I think, with a fresh sense of what the game could be and what it means to play Survivor. So, if you have a game plan of like, I'm going to play it this way, what could actually happen out there could be totally different because everything has changed and they've thrown in some other crazy thing. And I think that's exciting because I think what that means is they want people to be adaptable. They want people to be making relationships across alliance lines and always playing the game for you. And it just shakes things up and it gives people who are maybe on the bottom a chance to come back and make something new out of whatever the new situation is. So I think it's an interesting era of Survivor that we have entered in. And I'm excited to just test myself with it.
What do you think people will perceive you as?
I think people tend to perceive me as a pretty laid back and like happy, joyful dude. And I think there's a big element of truth to that. That all describes me pretty well. But I think that there's also a level of contemplativeness, I guess, or like, thinking through the things that I say really, really carefully, that people maybe don't associate as much with me. And I'm hoping it stays that way. I'm hoping that ends up being like people underestimate me as the guy who's here to just have a really fun adventure and like play this fun game, and they won't see how much I'm thinking behind the scenes.
What type of player are you looking for in an alliance?
Yeah. I think for me, my ideal alliance member is someone with whom I can chat about all of the different options. I think people often get pigeonholed into it's either this person or that person, like which one is better. But what I really want is someone who can look at the whole tribe, right? It's not just 2 people who are vulnerable, it's everyone, and think through all of the different options and maybe come up with creative strategies or listen to my creative strategies and talk me through them. And I want to be working genuinely with this person. People always play up the deception and the whatever because I think that's exciting. But at least for the first part of the game, I want someone who I could fully trust with everything I have and who won't go like rat me out for saying, oh, maybe we should vote out this person. So yeah, I'm looking for a really, really genuine connection and someone who I feel like we can discuss fully transparently with. And, at some point down the line, we'll have to turn on each other, but we'll get there when we get there.
How eager will you be to look for advantages in the game?
Very eager. This new era is almost defined by advantages. And having an advantage opens up so many doors of possibility for you that it is really doing yourself a disservice in this game to not be looking for advantages. I would expect everyone out there to be looking for advantages because they're so huge. yeah, and you wanna have options. At any stage of the game, it's valuable to have multiple things that you could do and be able to choose from them. It's an embarrassment of riches. That's the position I want to be in.
What's the one thing you told yourself you wouldn't do in this game?
So one thing that I think is a challenge for me sometimes is I can get into my own head about how people are judging me or how I'm coming off or what should I say or like this person wants something from me, like I feel like I have to give it to them, like that voice of anxiety and stress and whatever is not my friend in this game. Everyone here is playing for themselves, and I have to do the same thing. So my kind of personal goal for myself is to not get caught up too much in that anxious voice and just be willing to make decisions that are good for me and not feel bad about it. Because everyone here knows it's the game of Survivor and they're going to try to use my urge to give them things that they want against me. And I can't let that happen.
What's the best advice you received before coming out to play?
My dad told me to trust myself out here. I think, like I said, that voice of anxiety is always there and always kind of talking me down. And at home, I can always turn to my parents or my best friends to talk me out of that negative headspace. But here, it's just me and I have to rely on me. So the advice is just to trust myself and trust that I can do this and trust that I can support myself and just go out there and be who I am bravely.
Can you come up with your own weird phrase that could be said at a challenge to unlock an idol?
Ooh. Give me a second to think about this one. The oyster has landed on the moon and the chickens are out.
What celebrity or fictional character would you want to come out for a loved one's visit?
Oh, wow. That caught me off guard. Let me think about that one too. Maybe I would take Albus Dumbledore. I feel like he is a guy who always knows what to say in just the right moment, and whatever I need in that moment, he would give me. So I'd bring Dumbledore along.